Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity, saving the best for last, or maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see to the end of the semifinals. Bottom left-hand corner, we got Fischei starting as the green Protoss. Upper left-hand corner, we have got Kiko starting as the red Terran. This is going to be on Radeon. It is a best of 3. Both these guys, I believe, yeah, they were 1-0 in the initial stages, and the reason I said best for last is this is the matchup I was most excited about in round 2. Fischei, one of the guys who's been a consummate competitor in this space. Kiko, also very, very strong. Kiko has a really, I mean, he just has fantastic army movement. He's pretty good at macro. Fischei, very good at macro. Fischei looked fantastic round 1. And both of these guys are guys that I could see in the Final Four, potentially in the finals. And so out of the entire set of all the players, these are the two I thought that would give the best game and maybe the strongest matchup in this series. Out of everybody that I'm looking at across the field, I think Yui, New Ocean's looking pretty strong. Fischei, Kiko would be my guesses at the Final Four right this stage. We'll have to see as things progress. If I haven't said it prior, this is all that. So you got the Swiss round, everybody playing everybody, or I should not say everybody playing everybody. It's not a round robin. Similar scores play against similar scores. That leads to the round of 12, where the top 4 players who had the highest score coming out of the initial round get a bye for the first round of the bracket from that stage, and everybody else fights it out, and then it's basically best of 3, best of 5, best of 7 to the finals from there. And hopefully that makes sense. I'm wondering if I'll have time to make a visual. If someone wants to make a visual for me, that would be very appreciated. I'll put it that way. Anyway, it looks like Fischei is setting up for the dreaded Nexus first. This is not in cross-spawn position. Fortunately for Fischei, Fischei is opening up for Refinery. He is a player who typically will go Barracks Refinery first. Usually kind of sticks to the meta, at least for the initial stages of the match, where he goes for the initial 3 Marines, Factory, and then Vulture. Going for initial scout, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be a quick Nexus with the Gateway rather than Forge follow-up. So I'm presuming this is going to be 2 Gateways, 2 additional Zealots. The one thing for this is this can create a lot of problems for Terran, because a lot of I think what it does is it really shortens the mid. It forces up the timing where Siege Tech, so a lot of Terran these days have been trying to push Siege Tech back in the build order as far as possible. And part of the way you can accomplish that is by having Vultures out on the map with mines for a lot of map control before Observers are really out in the field. And by having larger numbers of Dragoons a little bit more rapidly off the 2 Nexus, I feel like what happens is there's an acceleration for Protoss of the mid game, where there's still a bit of a moment where you have that initial Vulture out in the field with some map control. Fischei, by the way, getting the earlier scout. Kiko going bottom left for a follow-up, but Fischei saw basically what he was looking for is going to be able to retreat with that probe away from the Marine on top of everything else. And now, yeah, probe's already transferring, second Gateway on the way. But so this is going to be challenging. It is a larger map, so despite it being, and I'm wondering if Kiko's going to try to pull the trigger or if he's just going to fold back, going for kind of the standard build and just grab the later Nexus, kind of in relegation to what's happened rather than trying to push things. He could skip. I have seen players skip Marines, skip a Vulture, go for Command Center play from there. It looks like right now just trying to find out where that probe has snuck out. Wanted to make sure it wasn't building any sort of proxy thing like that. SCV able to sneak in, see the double gateways. But now that Cybernetic Core is already up, and you're going to see pretty rapid. So rather than just having the 1 gate observer or having to cut in the Dragoon count to get that observer a little bit more rapidly, the SCV spinning around was about to make its way up the ramp, but instead gets wiped out by that Zealot 1 retreating. And it looks like the Vulture is out on the map. Yeah, Command started getting grabbed before the Machine Shop dropped, but now the question, yeah, how much damage can this Vulture get? It's gonna have, this is kind of a sacrificial Zealot initially from Fischei, tossing 1 out, leaving the other at home base right this second. No additional pylons as of yet, as the initial 2 Dragoons are produced. And having, so the Zealot was able to get a little bit of damage on that Vulture. The Vulture still will be in position to go ahead and plant some mines, which are researching right this second. But you can see having these initial 2 Dragoons and the 2 follow-up Dragoons pretty rapidly out in the field. And it looks like Fischei actually going to dedicate 1 Dragoon to try to hunt this, push this Vulture back. This is before range is finishing, so the Vulture still can micro at the furthest reaches, which Kiko is doing a pretty good job. It looks like he's going to withdraw and start moving towards the front. Second Vulture out, and a bunker being forced out. And this is, we'll see if there's a quick follow-up of Siege Tech, or if we're going to see Vulture Speed as a follow-up, and also if we see how many Vultures are going to be produced, because this is initial 2 Vultures. Ooh, Marine taking some tap of damage. Fischei just confirming that command center is being built. Took some base shield damage. But right now, no mines out as of yet, and you've already got... I was waiting to see if there's 3 Dragoons, but never mind. Not 3 Dragoons out in the field as of yet, but robotics on the way. Still no front door blockade, and considering the... it looks like the Dragoon ate a mine, by the way. So mine already here at the 6 o'clock location. This is the big important part for a lot of Terran in general, is getting that map control. Fischei actually, I'm wondering where the resources went that would have gone, or maybe it was just a macrocycle mist. I'm kind of curious what happened there. But usually you'll have like 4 Dragoons at this stage, and that's a lot more rapid than you would have. And sometimes if you're really, really skilled, you can go for Marine snipes. Kiko actually moving out with initial Marines. So hoping that he can push and actually not having the pylon blockade might hurt Fischei a little bit here. But this is going to be 4 Vultures, 3 Marines, and an SCV going up against 3 Dragoons in a closer position. 2 more Dragoons about to join. Really, what Kiko wants to do is get that mine right in his opponent's face and maybe beneficially get some splash damage. But it looks like the Marines have been completely wiped out. And now Fischei just has to be careful of this close spider mine. He should be okay. The robotics facility is up. The observatory just now getting built. Siege check is getting start up. We have initial siege going from there. And the problem now is this will be a slight delay, but as long as Fischei is patient about this, these mines should easily be dispatched. He can easily go ahead and make his way up to the 6 o'clock once that observatory's out. Oh man, never mind. A little bit of miss micro there on the Dragoons, I think. So this one faltering into that mine. I think that was just the Dragoons being dumb right that second. But in the meantime, Fischei is going ahead and sitting back, getting an armory actually off just the 2 factories, and it looks like he's going for old school upgrade Terran style, potentially folding back into that, which maybe he's doing that because of this map architecture. He's already got some nice mines planted to provide that map control. It's going to be, again, a little bit shorter lived. Because of just because oftentimes what happens is if you go the observatory, 1 gate observatory, you don't have enough Dragoons to really get the mines cleared out like this. But when you have that second nexus, it just bolsters everything in the mid game, and so this section of the map gets shortened quite a bit, which allows that 3rd base to go up a little bit more rapidly, as well as that 4th. Basically puts a situation where Terran really can't pressure into your opponent, and as a result, Protoss can macro up fairly efficiently. Is really what ends up happening from here. So you kind of, Terran usually in the mid game versus Protoss being greedy like this is you want to have some sort of threat, and oftentimes just not having enough troops on the ground, not having enough mine spread, a lot of situations it puts you in a place where you just can't threaten the Protoss, and as a result they kind of get that 3rd base up without too much trouble. And this is typically what beats upgrade Terran these days, is going 3 bases, flooding a whole bunch of gateways around that 11 minutes, and then just having a glut of troops that's either taking out the 3rd or just completely running the Terran over. But right now, we are going up to 4 factories. We'll see if a 5th is added on. This is more typical, but usually you do not see the 3rd command center before this factory flood. It looks like Fischei is going to make his way up and spot, and he also sees the command center, which could provoke. So now the question is what does this provoke? Does this provoke a faster pressure here? I'm wondering if Fischei is going for the upgrade Terran because of this architecture, because you have this is a, once you get siege and a little bit of cruft in the way here, this can be a difficult position to breach, and you can maybe stymie and maybe sit back on the 3 bases and max up and allow trades to go a little bit better than they might go otherwise. But I'm a bit concerned because Fischei, upon seeing that 3rd, which the observer wasn't boxed out, man, he's building a lot of observers at the stage. How many does he have queued up? Never mind, he's just got the 2 that are in close proximity. Looks like this one actually might get wiped out, and I was just mistaking one. I thought he had 3 already out in the field. But going to skip Reaver Tech, he does have at least 3 out in the field. Interesting. Trying to keep eyes on maybe when Vultures are trying to dive their way. By the way, the Vulture boxed out here at the 6 o'clock location is able to get a probe along that way, but so got something out of that. Wow, 3 Vulture kills actually. And Fischei not being all that great with his observer discipline right here. Walking into this, it's going to take another big hit. Fortunately, there wasn't a lot of splash with that, but a few misfires. But that 4th going up, so Fischei in a commanding economic position where he's going to very rapidly be able to grab this 3rd. Now, this 3rd, the Vultures can sneak in and get some damage here, and we're right now a little bit light on troops. So if Kiko is going to make the best of this, rather than just sitting back passively and waiting for +1 weapons around the 11:10, 11:30 minute mark, If he can get some vultures out in the field to potentially harass the 9 o'clock position, or at least kill some dragoons, get some mines laid in midfield and force some attacks and get some dragoons to walk into some mine traps, that might be beneficial for him. But as it stands, despite grabbing this third and grabbing this refinery, he's going to be behind, I think, in the overall macro stage. Fischei has a very, very commanding, healthy, wow, he's got a lot of probes to work with already. Has a dragoon front to absorb vultures that are trying to skirt their way across. Both play, and it looks like he's going to check out that bottom right hand corner, might be able to clear out the vultures that are down there. Probes are going to transfer free. I am wondering if we're going to see a cannon along this 9 o'clock to provide some protection, but we also have Arbiter Tech on the way in the midst of this and looking for that gateway flood. Yeah, we got all sorts of gateways, and I'm expecting the full 12 gateways off the 4 bases, which is going to put Fischei in a fantastic position. 50 supply lead right this second. We do have the 5 factories for Kiko, but and he's got decent siege tank spread. He's actually got a lot of siege tanks in the midst of this, but with not being able to apply pressure and stop that 4th from going up, Fischei is just taking a huge macro advantage. And he's actually going up to full 80 probes, which is honestly a little bit, maybe a little bit too much. The Zealot's going to go bottom right hand corner, might be able to clear out this vulture, what is weakened, and also the mine potentially. Yeah, and I don't think Kiko's paying enough attention to that direction. Observer just making sure there wasn't a sneaky base out in the field. Looks like the dragoons are walking their way down here. Zealot gonna face plant. Zealot leg speed, by the way, finished right here. I don't think Kiko is going to unseat. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna add some additional factories and try to max out as rapidly as he can. But this is kind of the tender in between spot right here, where, and there can also be kind of the inverted problem where once Fischei maxes out, how do you get out of this location where it's challenging to attack into this 3rd, but at the same time, how do you get out of this base when you're getting harassed in mass every time you siege and unsiege and things like that? And on top of that, if we get a good stasis or 2, which it looks like there's going to be plenty of arbiters out, stasis is already upgraded, recall's on the way, there's going to be a good amount of energy to work with. We got all sorts of zealots at the front. Could be very strong in the midst of this. And Kiko +1 weapons finish is making his way on the upgrades, but Fischei already at 200 supplies, so he can already start taking shots. And Kiko has not really moved any vultures out in the meantime, so basically you've got an entire army. You've got a full-fledged army out here for Fischei, and you got a defense force. Although some nice mine coverage. These tanks are not sieged yet. They're gonna have to be a little bit careful. I don't think Fischei is aware of this, but moving that army out. Also a drop here, by the way, at the 9 o'clock. Was not expecting this. A drop at the 9 o'clock. Looks like a tank is sieged up. The probes didn't look like they defended themselves, so that's gonna be... So this buys Kiko some time. Getting a little bit of damage. This is actually gonna help Fischei out a little bit, because I think he was a little bit oversupplied on the overall probes. So now I'm gonna have a little bit of supply freed up to go into army. He's gonna go drop those cannons now. I think the dropship was also wiped out, but now Fischei at 200 supply. We got some additional turrets being built to deal with any potential recalls that might happen. Army gathering out here, and basically Fischei can just go contain from here. Even with the max upgrades, all he has to do is, he's already starting the refugee potential in the bottom right, is just get a lot of factories up, or get a lot of gateways up, be able to rebuild and just start swarming Kiko. Oh, never mind, he's going now. Zealot's leading, and a lot of these tanks on siege. If that was a mistake, I think it's a beneficial mistake. It looks like we did. Was that an EMP? No, never mind. Just the turrets off. There's no science vessel here. Nice stasis. That's going to isolate the northern siege tanks from the southern siege tanks, and all of the siege tanks look like they are getting wiped out. Looks like there's a distance 3rd, but this is going to leave this expansion completely exposed. So Fischei, pulling the trigger, still has a commanding supply lead, wiping out absolutely everything. A beautiful stasis, and there's going to be another one online and not too long. And that is going to be in a scenario where Kiko needs to move out to try to re-grab this 3rd. And while that's happening, you have the bottom right-hand base, which is already established and is probably going to get mining shortly. SCV's trying to defend themselves on the corner. This is still very problematic. You got kind of a 3-minute timer Now for Kiko, where his main's going to be mined out, some Dragoons left over. Look like they're going to clear things out. Also, look at the supply bounce back. Zelt's brushing across the map. Look how long it'll take. Keep an eye in the upper right-hand corner to see how rapidly it's going to take Fischei to resupply all this. He's running on a lot of bases. The bottom right's not saturated yet, but off 4 bases, off this many gateways, you can resupply very, very quickly. And Kiko is now going to have to find a way to evict Fischei from what was his third to try to retake that territory. Looks like some vultures are going to find some probes bottom right. Oh, and get a good mine drag, so that's something. So dropped Fischei to 63, but with all of the Nexus that he has, so I believe the correct, it's like Greek instead of Latin or something like that. Never mind, that's off topic. I'll stick it on topic, actually. You'd think the plural of Nexus would be Nexi, but apparently someone a long time ago mentioned that it's Greek, and Nexus is actually the plural of multiple nexuses, which is what you'd want to say in English. Anyway, nearly double the supply here for Kiko. Fischei still had a army latently here. It's actually not that poorly upgraded, getting a little bit of bonus damage. Just checking top right is going to go ahead and plop another Nexus down. He basically controls the entirety of the rest of this map. Well, Kiko is struggling to reposition and recontrol what was the 3 o'clock base. Or sorry, what was the 9 o'clock base. Also an Arbiter moving up, so big recall opportunity. There's only 2 mines currently to defend. This is not going to be sufficient. This is probably the army that's making its way in. Yeah, and a big drop. I don't think he's going to get the armory per se in the corner, which would disrupt a bit of it. That's really oftentimes the big prize. But Kiko not going to sit around to try to figure it out. He knows he doesn't have enough, and that Fischei's economy is extremely strong. So game 1 goes to Fischei in commanding fashion. GG. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.